recording. There we go. And we're on. So, today I'm going to be talking about angels. Now, I've talked about angels in the group quite a few times. And always great fun, but it's been, golly, well over a year, maybe even more. And Reba and I subscribe to groups. One is tapping. They have tapping congresses. And another one is, and I don't even know the name of it, but it had Jean Slater, who does angels, but it also had somebody that specialized in fairies, had somebody that specialized in dragons, and they would come in and talk about, their area of specialization. And it was just so wonderful listening to Jean be interviewed for an hour, maybe a little more, that we were truly inspired. Now, we use angels for everything. We don't limit them. We really don't. We have angel committees. We have mission statements. I think of angels. Now, you've heard me years ago talk about segment intending or pre-paving, where you get straight in your head what you want is the outcome before you enter into any segment of your life, even as small as getting in the car. I intend to be safe and comfortable and enjoy the ride to wherever. Store. I intend that everything I need will come to me easily and I'll be led to whatever I need to see. Well, I view angels in much the same way, because if you have angels, you can just alert them at each segment. Click and clack, I'm taking the car in. We've named them all. You name them whatever's comfortable for you. I have angels for people in my life. If I know them well, I'll usually give them the middle name of the person, Michelle or Vero or whatever it might be, Stanley. And that's the angel that I work with in making sure that I get a good interaction with that person. And the results are bowl you over spectacular. I mean, truly bowl you over spectacular. So, the first one I'm going to talk about is when Reba bought her car. Reba didn't have a lot of money. She was on her own, an astrologer, but she did a variety of other services like EFT and energetic services, light body activation and feng shui, things like that. But she didn't have a lot of extra money. She did fine. She was living in a beautiful place, furnished by friends in paradise. So she needed a car, and she said, I'm in Florida, I want a red convertible. And then her son, who used to sell used cars, said, look, you go around, I don't have time. His wife was gone, he had 3 kids. And he said, I don't have time to go with you, I've got a job and kids to raise. But when you get to the car you want, get me and I'll go with you and help you with the negotiation. So Reba went around and found the place, and she gets there, and Jeff is with her son. They go in, start talking to him. She's found a white convertible. But she really wanted red, but it was white. So they're there talking, and the money is just not quite working out. So the guy says, listen, a really nice car came in about 15 minutes ago. He said, it's so nice that I think we should look at it right now because it's going to fly off the lot. So they go out into the lot to look at a beautiful, stunningly beautiful red convertible. Owned by a German, somebody that knows about taking care of mechanical things. The car's 5 years old, so it's older. And she said, I wanted a newer car. The car has 20,000 miles on it. The guy kept it in his garage, didn't even want to drive it over to trade it in because it was drizzling, and he never drove it in the rain. It was the limited edition. It had every luxury on it imaginable, and he had upgraded the stereo system.
Wow.
The car is called Rooster Red. We drove it across the country through all the national parks. What a joy! It is so much fun. And of course, being a little older, it was the perfect price. This is what it's like to work with angels. When we go out to Seattle, it never stops raining. But our angel, Sonny, always takes care of it for us. Now, what you have to do is you have to be careful. Don't look at the weather before you go. You go, oh, well, Sonny, raining, 45 days, it'll never... You don't look. You just say, what do I want? Her newest book is called Wantology. So knowing what you want is an important part of it. We go out to Seattle in the spring. It's been raining for 45 days straight. We get off the plane. It's sunny. We listen to the weather guy that night. He is euphoric. He said, we have 12 days of sun ahead of us. He said, I can hardly believe it. Well, of course, we looked at each other and smiled. And on the way in, as we were at the checkout counter at Avis, where they were upgrading us because they didn't have the car we reserved, right? Reba looked at him and said, we expected the sun. We brought it with us from Florida. Now, you've heard me talk about synchronicities. This is one of the ways you know that your angels are working for you. You should go through your day and have, oh, yeah, that's the term, an ecstatic explosion of synchronicities. It should start in the morning, go all the way through the day. You go to sleep at night, close your eyes. Ta-da! Another day well done. Was your day, and this is our mantra, better than you could imagine? Yeah, it was better than I could imagine. I don't care if I'm going for an IRS tax audit, and the lady says, that was the nicest agent I ever talked to. And while we're talking to her, she said, oh, literally, it was a big mistake. I will get a letter right out to you, which I got this week, saying you don't owe anything. Oh, ta-da! So, I want to take a second here and tell you a little bit about Jean Slater. So, this is her book, autographed by Jean. Reba's gone to her class. She does classes now called Creative Mystic. And Jean was the ultimate skeptic. She came from a very strict religious background and separated from the church at 19 on bad terms. And really didn't want anything to do with religion. And she considered angels pretty darn religious. I mean, Holy Toledo, they're in the Bible. So, one day she's in her office. She was a computer programmer, and she was also a naturopath. I don't know. She was intensely logical, but liked to work with people. And she's in the office working with her patient, and trying to clear, she does muscle testing, and the patient has allergies, and she lets the patient's body talk to her through muscle testing. And it said, you need to clear the neurotransmitters for allergies. You need to say all 5 of them. Well, she could think of 4 of them off the top of her head, but she couldn't think of the 5th one. So her patient says, out of nowhere, histamine? She goes, no, histamine's not a neurotransmitter. And at that moment, something literally turns her around in her seat, and she's looking at her bookcase. She puts her hand out and takes a book off the shelf that she bought a year before, but it never opened. She opens the book, and the title on the top of the page is Histamine. And looks down in the middle of a paragraph, and it says, histamine is a little-known neurotransmitter, it is believed. She was so shaken by this that she could hardly wait for the patient to leave so she could shake by herself. Now, she started to say, well, I'm doing good things, trying to help people. Maybe there's spiritual help for me. And she started working with spirit for people that came in to see her every day. Every day she would work with them, and things were coming out of her mouth that she just didn't know. And she would say things that correlated with the patient's life that she had no way of knowing. And she went, geez, maybe religion sucks, but there is something going on here. And so, over time, she started to expand her use of this spiritual energy on the other side. And she decided that maybe she could use some more help. And she thought she'd just experiment. Nobody knew about this. It was free. She'd just try. So she had a husband, 4 kids. She didn't have a lot of time. She wasn't particularly good at her wardrobe, so she thought, but I need to look more presentable. In fact, I'd like to look good. But she would go out shopping and spend 3 hours and come back with one thing that she way overpaid for and was very unhappy with. So she said, I'm going to hire, if I can, a spiritual helper to help me with my shopping. 2 hours later, 17 outfits, just a little over $200, she came back home. That was it. The horse was out of the barn. At this point, if spiritual helpers can do this, new game. And she was literally off to the races. And she started to realize that she could use them for everything. So she started to put together, at their direction, committees with mission statements. And she would meet with them daily. And they would say things like, write a book. A wild bestseller, Hiring the Heavens. And she said, I can't write a book. Well, she did have faith because she had 4 kids. They'd worked out an arrangement where her husband would stay home and take care of the kids. He didn't work. So she needed some help. So she hired spiritual helpers for every last thing imaginable in the office.
Are you talking angels?
Angels.
Okay. Not really.
She calls them helpers. Now she calls them angels, but at that time she referred to them as spiritual helpers. A secretary, an organizer, an accountant. For 10 years, she supported her family working part-time as a naturopath and never hired a person. Not once. For 10 years, she supported her family. So she believed in the committee. She believed the spiritual helpers, the angels, worked. And then she put together her committee for the book. Now, you've heard me say that, write down the things you want, and I told you about the lady that wanted her driveway paved. 2 weeks later, a guy knocks on her door and says, I just finished the paving job. I got a truckload of asphalt out here. Any interest in paving anything? I can see some potholes out there. I'll cut you a great deal. She talks to her husband. They said, do the whole thing. He knocked on the door. Well, she doesn't know what to do about this book thing, but person after person walked into her life. The next day, she's working with a lady, and she writes really fine in a lot of detail. And she says to her, well, what is it that you do? She said, well, I'm a copy editor. And she said, well, what is that? She said, I take manuscripts and edit them. She goes, oh, copy editor, got one. And that's the way she did the book. The Angels helped her write. If you listen to Pete or talk to Pete, he'll tell you his book wrote itself. That's why it's so powerful. It's inspired. It goes deep. It's in alignment with your inner spirit. Now, we're not here to get better. We're not here to solve problems. We're here for outrageous joy. We're here for wow. We want wow. Screw problems. Screw getting better. We want wow. Give me wow. I want outrageous joy. I want it in every cell in my body. I want it to permeate my whole life. I want it in the people I see and I meet. And I'm telling you, it will come to you in a continuous flood. When I walked into Best Buy yesterday, I got a sales agent, and I said, look, I'm just looking for new computers for Reba and I. We want to be matchy-matchy, and I have some questions. I walked out 3 hours later with 20 pages of minutely detailed information, and he didn't get a sale. And I knew everything I needed to know to go home and tell Reba, oh, wow, wait till you see these toys. They are so much fun. They flip around. They're a pad. They're a computer. They weigh nothing. You can flip them up in the air. No. So, that's the way it works. As you go through your day, through your life, nothing but one magnificent synchronicity after another, say that 3 times fast, just seems to flow into your life. It's working, it's working, it's working. It's easy, it's easy, it's easy. Oh, joy. So, I want you to play with this. I'm not telling you to do it, but if you hear some ideas here, so here's one. Spiritual sleuth, or an angelic sleuth. You lost any jewelry lately? I lost a beautiful diamond gold graduation pen that my parents got me when I graduated at the top of my class in my MBA program at Syracuse University. I loved that. I was so proud of it. I was so proud of what I did. It was just a wonderful experience from beginning to end. And I lost it in the parking lot down the street there. I put it in my pocket after I went to the bathroom from washing my hands, pulled my keys out, and it fell on the ground. The guy drives up the street, and I realized I lost it, so I put my angel on it. Guy drives up the street in his van. He's a working man. He looks up and goes, holy Toledo, there's a ring. Picks it up, takes it home, shows his wife. His wife looks at it and says, there's a name in here. So she calls Syracuse University Alumni Committee. Oh my God. And gives them my name and my graduation date, which was on the ring, and the Phi Beta Kappa thing and all that baloney that were on there. And they know me, but Beverly passed and I've moved. They don't have any current address or phone number. I didn't call them up and say, hey, I'm moving. So she goes on the internet, types in my name and finds GTS, Witch's Brew. In the meantime, she's gone to church and asked the whole church to pray for finding me. Wow. I come into the counter and they say, hey, listen, somebody from Syracuse University called you. Here's their name and number, and they'd like you to call them back. And I call them back and they say, describe the ring. And, well, this ring is incredibly precious to me. I mean, my dad's passed on, and it's symbolic of their love. I love wearing it because I feel the love. Call the guy up and he says, oh, my wife's really going to be happy. The church is going to go crazy. So I go over, I say, I want to give you some money. He said, I can't take it. I said, well, give it to the church then, Get my ring back. It's like that all the time. I lose everything. And I never worry about it. It always comes back to me. Yeah, it's in the words. If you don't say the words exactly right, you won't get it back. Not! You can't do it wrong. So Pete described the car. In his dream, a car came to him, and he's driving down the road, and the car's there. Exactly. So my mother, I explained this to her. She uses Jeannie. Now my mother's 86, so things are falling. They're going everywhere. I mean, as she walks along, it just falls off of her, right? Jeannie's always taking care of her. The last one were her car keys. She had a spare set of car keys. I said, Mom, have you worked with Jeannie yet? She said, oh, I forgot. She said, but I'm going to put her right on. Now, she'd been looking for 3 weeks, and she had everybody she knows, the person that cleans her house, tear apart her car. She's going to swim at the swim place. She looks in her purse, which she had emptied 3 times. She'd emptied it, put everything on the table. There were her keys. So, Jerry's here for a really important reason today. Expect miracles. Now, I've told you countless times, there is no causality. There is no time and space. There is no logic. The point of power is in the feeling. So it's not in how you ask the question. This is what I did when I found my ring. And I found my pen and the countless other things I left everywhere because I don't want to think about that stuff. I just want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. So I saw myself with the pen and the ring, and I saw how really happy I was. And if I had a doubt, I went to my first picture. Oh, happy. So you can have a doubt, but don't let it stick around. A second, 2 seconds, oh, I'm doubting. I'm going to the happy picture. That's where I'm going. I'm going to the happy picture, so I'm getting a clear message to the universe. It feels so good to have my ring back. Oh, it feels so good to have my pen back. Whatever it is. It's the feeling. The feeling is the point of power. Now, this will expect miracles. Expect miracles. This is about wow. This is about outrageous joy. So, Jean teaches the class, and the spiritual sleuth, or the angelic sleuth, defines jewelry's gotten out, and now the stories are pouring in about how this is working for people. One lady says she lost her engagement ring 10 years ago. She puts the spiritual angel on it. She's sitting on the couch about 2 weeks later, sees a brown leaf on the plant on her table, reaches over to pull it off and sees something shiny. It's in the flower pot. She pulls her engagement ring out of the flower pot, which she's only had for 2 years. The ring she lost 10 years ago. It's a miracle. I'm telling you, it happens all day, every day. If you get in the feeling place of it, it's not about doing. There is no causality. Get into the feeling place. It's about vibration. The universe must match your vibration. Give up all this stuff about education. Give up all this stuff about you must do this and you must do that. Hire your spiritual committee, and at this point I'll pass around hiring the Heavens Workbook. It's not in the book. We made it up. We got a short sheet. We got a long sheet. We fill them out. We got, I don't know, probably 30 of these things done. And we're always doing it because stuff is coming up and we're constantly expanding ourselves. So, pass that around if you would please, Pat. So, and I'll post those on the website. And I'll talk to Gina, and maybe if it's okay with her, I'll post the interview that I just heard. depending on the space and if it's okay with you. It's free. It was, online, but it's not available online anymore, but it was free. So, I'm going to tell you one more story. So a lady was out, gorgeous day in the spring, big yard. She goes out and spends the day working in her yard, and she's in heaven. The sun's on her. She's in her beautiful plants and flowers and flower beds. Just had a great day. And as she goes in, she looks at her ring and notices, oh my God, that freshwater pearl is gone from the ring her husband gave her. She said, all day, this huge yard, what chance do I have, right? Angelic sleuth, come on! She'd read the book about 2 weeks before, puts the angel on it. 2 hours later, she's on her bed upstairs with her kids, and her daughter says, the dog has something in its mouth. She says, spit it out, Sadie. The pearl falls 2 inches from her hand on the bed for her husband's ring. It's about miracles. Expect them. Now, the more you can be like a child, the better. Because this is the way it works. What it can overcome, the only thing that it can overcome, only one thing, it's little, just one thing, your belief. Your belief. At least try and suspend your disbelief. Try and create a space of possibility in your mind. Because nothing can overcome your belief. Why? Reality is an exact reflection of your vibration. And if you don't believe it, if you're in a vibratory place of disbelief, it can't get in. It wants to get in, but it can't get in. Now, a little bit about getting started. So, lady hears her book, hears her speak. She's a clairvoyant. This is true, I know it's true. She works all night putting together a spiritual committee for every last thing in her life. She worked all night, one committee after another. Her body, her family, her husband, her finances, her business. One committee after another. Deep into the night, she's exhausted, she falls asleep. She wakes up, her room is jam-packed with angels. They can't even all get in. And it's not just the ones she hires. There are angels standing there with resumes saying, we think we can help you. If you'll just take a look at this, and maybe there's a place for us. Because how many people do you know that are using angels? There's a lot of them, and they would like a little work, and they want to participate in our life, and there's nothing too small. And they're not proud. And all you have to do is spend your day going through, thank you, that rocked. Thank you, that was wonderful. Oh, that was totally unexpected. You did such a good job. I love you. So, what are the limits to using angels? So she's giving a talk one day, and a guy comes in and says, that was great. Are you speaking here tomorrow? And she said, yes, I am tomorrow morning. And he says, I'm coming back. That really knocked me out. So the next morning she's speaking, comes in, she looks at her watch, 45 minutes late. Comes up after the presentation, I'm sorry I was late. She said, I'm camping, and it's been so cold, and the floor's been so hard in the shed that I'm camping in, that I just haven't been getting any sleep. He said, so last night I hired an angel to make a bed better than my $2,000 bed at home. And I hired another angel to make the room nice and warm. And he said, I got the best night's sleep I ever had, and I overslept. I'm so sorry. What? An angel was an air mattress? And an angel was a heater? Yeah? Yeah? All that is wants to be part of your life. The energies of the universe are lined up to support you. Now, everybody here that knows their God, raise their hand. Oh, yeah, we know it, don't we? So last week, did you create a universe? A world? A solar system? Well, what were you doing? The point is that the energies of the universe are lined up to support us in growing into our magnificence. How much are you willing to let in? How much are you willing to let in? So this is a way to make friends with those energies that are always lined up there in your corner supporting you. A few months back, I talked to you about the Horse Brigade, the dream I had in 1989 where I'm riding with these riders and they would peel off. 1, 2, 3, 6. We were riding along. I was just happy. I was with really wonderful energies, I guess. I didn't even know about the problems. They would go out and take care of the problems before they came up, and they worked magnificently together. So the question is this. We've all heard the rappers talk about who you're rolling with. Who you rolling with? Who's your posse? Who's your posse? Who are you rolling with? Are they with you? Because they should be. They want to be. They're dying to be with you. So look. This is about wow. This is about outrageous joy. This is about spectacular. This is about who you are. This is who you are. Just get in alignment with it. Your life should be this book. Outrageous, wow, spectacular. I love you.
You're right.